Hi, this is Tim of the Watch Box on assignment with Europa Star Magazine SIHH 2019 at Vacheron Constantin with the big piece, arguably the most talked about watch at the show. The 42mm white gold Traditionnelle Twin Beat Perpetual is the most innovative timepiece of 2019. Now it starts with a movement that has two separate drivetrains. As you can see on the flank, there is an alternator that allows you to switch between 5 Hz or 18,000 vibrations per hour to an alternate rate of 8,640 or 1.2 Hertz, and it alternates with two separate balances and two separate drivetrains. Now, in its primary mode, 5 Hertz, 18,000 beats, it can run for 4 days. In its standby mode, again, the same power reserve, it uses a larger, slower beating balance to run for 65 days. Now, this is incredibly useful on a timepiece that is a perpetual calendar, because if you rotate through a collection, you can easily put this watch in standby mode and come back to it 2 months later, and it will still be running. Now the timepiece is manually wound. I can't show you caliber 3610 on the case back, or perhaps I can. I'll sneak a little view through the back there. My hosts will not begrudge me a quick glance of the case back. As you can see, caliber 3610, Geneva hallmark finish, outstanding Côte de Genève, mirrored anglage, black polished screw heads, and beautiful use of golden wheels. It's a panoply of colors with silvers and blacks and golds and violets of the pivot gems. Now the timepiece is part of the Traditionnelle line, which is something that folks haven't really talked about, and it is a perpetual calendar and an extraordinary one at that. I should mention that the two drivetrains are distinct in that the balances are of different size. We'll go into the perpetual calendar aspect in a moment, but you can see the small balance is actually the 5 Hertz, the large balance is the 1.2 Hertz, and you can see it all drives down from the barrel. There's a differential that allows the barrel to drive two separate drivetrains. There's a silicon escape wheel for the large slow beating barrel to reduce the oscillating mass and also the amount of friction. Now let's talk about the perpetual calendar system. It is a complete perpetual calendar. As you can see, the day, the date, the leap year cycle, and it is an instantaneous jumping perpetual calendar, an evolution of Vacheron's previous perpetual, which was a dragging calendar. This one jumps crisply, all indications as necessary at midnight. It's also a glorious use of different materials. As you can see, a ruthenium coated metal dial with true rose lathe guilloché, plenty of sapphires, the Vacheron Constantin logo ghosted underneath the primary. You can see the Dauphine hands half frosted and polished with the central spline that is the signature of the Traditionnelle line. That's how you know patrimony from Traditionnelle. Dauphine hands, Traditionnelle, and there is a railroad track minutes outboard with all applique white gold indices superimposed over the center dial. Finally, there are two separate sapphires that are black and red lacquered. You can see the power reserve indicator at 12 o'clock that represents the high beat 4-day or slow beat 65-day power reserve, and you can see the indicator that alternates with a push of the trigger down at 8 o'clock for 5 Hertz or 1.2 Hertz mode. Easily the most innovative watch of the year, and I can tell you, unquestionably the most discussed. Let me see if I can just get real close at the end. This is a watch that's beautiful intellectually and artistically, and my pick for best in show. This is the 2019 Vacheron Constantin Traditionnelle Twin Beat Perpetual at SIHH 2019.